I'm stoked to be here, and it's an absolute honor to be representing Australia and discussing on a topic that I'm extremely passionate about, and that is natural testosterone optimization. So, if you've struggled with low motivation, low sex drive, or lack of energy and lack of confidence in the past, I want to tell you that it's not your fault. I want to put your fears to rest, because what you will discover today is different. What has held you back is you've been told that feeling this way is normal. If you've ever thought that this can be fixed, then you're right. So, who am I? My name's Lucas Auon. I'm a qualified naturopath with over 8 years of experience. I was the Dux of Bachelor of Health Science Naturopathy degree, and I was the youngest guest ever featured on the Ben Greenfield Fitness podcast. I'm also a very avid researcher on the most up-to-date health information that you'll struggle to find on Google. I'm also the host of a leading health optimization podcast called the Boost Your Biology podcast, and I've also had experience formulating supplements for various companies around the world. So why should you trust me? Put your hand up if you know at least one of these influencers and researchers. Just throw up your hand if you're familiar with any of these. So fortunately, I've gathered the attention of these educators and doctors who fortunately have followed me on Instagram and respect my content, which is a phenomenal feeling. So ultimately, we're here today to be talking about testosterone optimization. Now, one thing I really like to state is that your blood test results, they will not lie to you. And we can see here an example of what I managed to do naturally to boost my testosterone levels as high as possible naturally. And so we can see that my testosterone score was 988 nanograms per deciliter total testosterone. And I've always been a believer in listening to people who have walked the walk, not just talk the talk. So the proof is in the pudding. I managed to boost my testosterone as high as possible naturally through a range of nutritional interventions, supplementation, exercise, and some other quirky underground biohacks. So why should we even be worrying about low testosterone? Well, to put it simply, unfortunately, most men in this room are not the man that their grandfather was. And the reason I state this is because we're seeing an epidemic where we're seeing a massive decline in the levels of testosterone globally. Now, there are many reasons for this. I'm sure many of you are probably familiar with some of those reasons: lack of activity, obesity, environmental pollutants, and things like that. So, the modern day man's testosterone levels are being attacked from all different angles. Now, as we can see here, plastic bottles. Unfortunately, there's a number of plastic bottles on the tables here, but these plastic bottles contain what's known as endocrine disrupting chemicals. So things like BPA or bisphenol A, which can accumulate in the testes and accumulate in various organs and tissues that can actually dampen reproductive function and also affect fertility in a very negative way. In addition, we see fluoride toothpaste and even fluoride-based water. This can accumulate in the pineal gland and have a secondary downstream effect on testosterone by affecting other hormones such as melatonin. Now, the next one here is going to be somewhat controversial, but as you can see here, canola oil, which is a vegetable oil, is actually a very dangerous oil for men to be consuming, because canola oil is highly prone to oxidation, and this can lead to damage in the testes and affect testosterone production as well. So we need to be avoiding canola oil, and instead we want to be opting for olive oil, coconut oil, macadamia oil, ghee, and butter. These are the best fat sources for men to optimize their hormones. Next up, we have flax seeds. Now, flax seeds have been shown to raise sex hormone binding globulin, which can lower free testosterone levels. And so I've seen a number of guys that have come to me looking to, support their hormones, and after questioning them about, the certain foods that they were eating, they were consuming copious amounts of flax seeds, chia seeds, and these can actually raise SHBG, which can have a deleterious effect on free testosterone levels. Aluminium deodorant. So those popular deodorants that we see in different health food stores and even supermarkets, these spray-on deodorants contain many chemicals that can actually adversely affect reproductive function. And then last but not least, soy-based foods. Now, the reason I mention soy foods is because soy is a very potent inhibitor of the enzyme 5-alpha reductase, and 5-alpha reductase converts testosterone into dihydrotestosterone, or DHT. Now, DHT is actually 3 to 10 times stronger than testosterone itself. So by consuming a product like soy foods, which contain these constituents that inhibit this 5-alpha reductase enzyme, we're seeing a decline in DHT levels, which can adversely affect mood, motivation, and drive. So why is low testosterone such a big deal? Well, unfortunately, low testosterone can actually influence a man's mood in a very significant way. And unfortunately, a number of men that may present to their doctor feeling flat or feeling down or depressed, oftentimes if we actually do what I spoke about before, which is blood testing, and we actually analyzed a man's level of testosterone, if his level of testosterone is not in the upper end of the reference range, this can lead to symptoms of depression and associated low mood. We see an inability to focus in men that have low testosterone. They don't have that drive, that focus, the determination, the willpower. We were mentioning discipline before. Discipline, the testosterone is the hormone of discipline. It creates that stability, the endeavor to seek out goals. And as Dr. Andrew Huberman states, testosterone makes effort feel good. Testosterone makes effort feel good. So we can see here that low testosterone is going to have a wide range of deleterious effects in the body, including low energy, gynecomastia, even abdominal fat, and decreased athletic performance. Well, what are the benefits of having high levels of testosterone? Well, better mood, mental focus, increased muscle mass. We see high libido and stronger erections or morning wood, higher energy, increased lifespan, less abdominal fat, and maximum athletic performance. So we're seeing a whole range of benefits of having high levels of testosterone. So here are my go-to biohacks to supercharge and increase testosterone levels. And we can see that I've picked one biohack from each category, from the nutrition, supplementation, exercise, sleep, and then the last one is going to shock a number of you listening in, because this is the most quirky biohack that just happens to work really, really well. The first one is grains of paradise. Now, put your hand up if you like to put pepper on your food, if you enjoy sprinkling pepper on your food. Got a few people here. Well, this is what I oftentimes say to men who are looking to max out their testosterone naturally. A specific pepper from West Africa known as Aphromomum melaguta, which is grains of paradise. Now, grains of paradise pepper has a beneficial effect on testosterone. It improves erection quality and improves fertility in men. So this is definitely what I call the testosterone boosting pepper. Who here has heard of royal jelly? Most people probably heard of royal jelly in the context of improving immunity and improving general energy and vitality. Well, the good news is that royal jelly can actually decrease the hormone known as prolactin. Now, prolactin, basically this hormone puts the handbrakes on testosterone production. And we see elevated levels of prolactin in a number of men that suffer from low testosterone. And this is why, again, I'm going to nail home that it is absolutely essential that men get their blood tests done, because this is a hormone that's oftentimes neglected and can give us an insight into whether or not they're suffering from high prolactin. So the other benefit of royal jelly is that it can increase the conversion of DHEA into testosterone. And that's part of the mechanism by which how they think royal jelly supports hormonal health. In addition, another benefit of royal jelly is that it can increase my favorite neurotransmitter, and that is dopamine. Dopamine is what fuels us, it's what gives us the motivation, the drive, the confidence. It's basically the molecule of more, wanting us to seek out more growth opportunities and feeling positive and inspired about life. So this one here is going to shock a number of people in the room, and this is coming back to a very potent adaptogen known as ashwagandha. Now, before I discuss some of the negative effects of ashwagandha, I really want to actually outline some of the benefits of ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is a very powerful anti-stress herb. However, ashwagandha in some individuals, and this is why it's absolutely essential to not be using supplements without a qualified healthcare professional to actually, properly diagnose and prescribe. Ashwagandha can actually elicit a state known as anhedonia. Now, anhedonia is a state where the individual has a blunted pleasure response, and they no longer feel excitement or joy for things in life. It basically takes the zest out of life. The reason that ashwagandha can do this is because it can mimic some of the effects of SSRI medications, or SSRIs, which are antidepressants. SSRIs decrease the sensitivity of a serotonin receptor known as the 5-HT1A serotonin receptor. Ashwagandha can actually mimic these effects, and in some individuals, they do suffer from the anhedonia from ashwagandha, which is, unfortunately, it's a nasty side effect that can last for weeks after usage as well. So, what's another supplement that we can actually incorporate to boost testosterone? Well, there's a famous study that was titled, "There's Nothing Boring About Boron." And that is true because boron can actually help with vitamin D production. It can lower inflammation in the body. And 10 milligrams of boron for 6 days has been shown to raise testosterone levels, in fact, raising free testosterone levels by lowering SHBG. So boron is a very cheap and readily available supplement, and Life Extension, who I have no affiliation with, makes a great quality boron supplement that can assist with testosterone production. Now, remember how I showed you before my testosterone blood test result? Well, I was doing 2 to 3 sessions of very high intensity sprinting training to really increase androgen receptor density. Now, what do we notice about sprint training? Well, we're using large muscle groups and we're doing explosive activities. Activities that require large muscle groups and are very require high intensity and a short duration can increase growth hormone and testosterone. And so this is why I recommend to men to incorporate high intensity interval training 2 to 3 times a week to really improve testosterone production. The next one is a sleep hack that I don't know if anyone's mentioned this here today, and that is actually to mouth tape before bed. Who here has heard of mouth taping? We've got a number of people here. Awesome. So mouth taping basically means that you're applying tape over your mouth so that it forces you to breathe the way you should breathe, and that is through your nasal cavity during your sleep. A number of people without knowing are actually mouth breathers, and if we're a mouth breather, this can actually affect nitric oxide production, and nitric oxide production is really important for supporting blood flow and even promoting better output of androgenic hormones as well. So simply applying mouth tape before bed can actually be a real game changer in terms of improving your sleep quality and improving your overall energy levels the following day. So remember at the start of my talk, I mentioned a quirky underground biohack to boost testosterone. Well, we're looking at testicular icing. Now, I'm sure many of you have seen some of the other gadgets here, cryotherapy, taking a cold shower. Many of these have many benefits, but if we want to do something specific for men, doing testicular icing 10 to 15 minutes, 2 to 3 times a day, can absolutely support testosterone production. And in fact, there are many men's fertility clinics that are now prescribing testicular scrotal cooling to support testosterone production. So this is a practice that, a number of men, first of all, they're kind of shocked when I mention it to them, and they freak out and they think, how do I do this? What I really want to emphasize here is that we're not applying the ice pack to the skin, we're actually applying it against the underwear to actually, promote that testicular cooling. So a number of men have actually noted benefits from testicular icing. And we can see some of the testimonials, no pun intended, for the icing. A number of guys. In fact, if you go on YouTube and you just search testicular icing, my video is viral now, and you'll see a number of happy men. That's enough evidence for me. And to wrap things up, basically what I wanted to emphasize was how testosterone can support longevity. Now, this is through a variety of mechanisms. Men that have low testosterone, unfortunately, are going to suffer from a wide range of metabolic diseases. We heard Luke mention sleep being absolutely essential for longevity and health and wellness. And sleep is absolutely essential to support testosterone production. Now, what I really want to emphasize here is that men who get 7 to 9 hours per night of quality deep sleep will support their testosterone levels and promote optimal reproductive functioning. So there is actually convincing evidence that low testosterone is a biomarker for disease severity and mortality. Testosterone deficiency is associated with adverse effects on certain cardiovascular risk factors that, when combined, could potentially promote atherosclerosis. So as you can see, testosterone is absolutely essential for longevity, male performance, recovery, energy levels, and overall well-being. And so I really want to finish off my speech by stating that we really need to prioritize getting our blood test done to assess our testosterone levels as men age. And what we're also seeing in today's Western medicine system and many reference ranges is they've actually reduced the reference range for testosterone because we're seeing such a massive global decline in testosterone. So that's pretty much it from me today. hopefully you guys learned something new, and thank you for hosting.